What's up, Liches? Welcome back to Lads, Lasses and Liches. So, everyone and their nan has been watching the final season of Stranger Things.
I saw Stranger Things and it.
So, for those of you who watch Stranger Things but don't know much about the original D&D lore behind the monsters that we see in the series, this one's for you. Today we're going to talk about Demogorgon. Demogorgon has been a long-standing pinnacle of D&D lore, dating back to the Eldritch Wizardry sourcebook for the original Dungeons & Dragons in 1976.
Got a good feeling about this.
However, this monster has been a part of real-world mythology for longer. The original D&D creator, Gary Gygax, said in an interview that he was inspired by the pre-existing legends, such as those in Greek and occult mythology, which reference the Demogorgon. Now, like the devil, Demogorgon is known by many names. Imprisoned One, Seos of Ash, Armin Ibber the Sibilant Beast, and Limugun the Deep Father. But ultimately, and in a very edgelord kind of way, Demogorgon goes by his preferred title, Prince of Demons. And no Prince of Demons would be anything without their own cult following that divulge in live sacrifices and cannibalism, naturally. Now, his appearance in D&D lore is a stark contrast to what we see in Stranger Things. In D&D, he is 18 foot tall, has 2 baboon heads, has 2 tentacles from each arm. His torso is saurian. Now, for those of you who don't know, saurian is like the D&D's version of a dinosaur race, and that torso has bluey green scaly skin. He also has a huge forked tail. Now, given his 2 baboon heads, each one naturally comes with its own name and personality. The left one is Amul, who is more charismatic and calculating, whereas the right is called Hethradia and is more destructive and impulsive. Now, these 2 are like siblings. They're constantly fighting and trying to overpower each other. Each head even has their own minions working against each other. Now, I want to know what those briefing meetings went like. Now, despite being the almighty Prince of Demons, Demogorgon prefers to avoid direct combat, instead using magic to help his minions do his own bidding. He can hypnotise with a gaze or drive nearby creatures to insanity. His whippy tail can drain life energy. His arm tentacles, wait, are octopus tentacles arms or legs? Anyways, his tentacles can do something called cause disease, which is basically inflicting necrosis on anything it wants to. So I know what you're asking. What does Demogorgon do for fun? Well, Demogorgon likes to conduct experiments. He's even famed with creating monsters like the chimeras, ettins, and other monsters, as well as creating plagues like scalepox. So where does he live? In Stranger Things, Demogorgon lives in the Upside Down, but in D&D lore, his main abode is in the Gaping Maw, which is on the 88th layer of the Abyss. Demogorgon's main palace is called Abyssum, which has 2 twin towers, but most of it is underwater, where other D&D monsters live, like Aboleth and Kraken. Fun fact, Krakens once served Demogorgon, but he kind of abandoned them because they started doing their own sort of scheming, and he didn't like that because they were too busy doing that and not, serving him. So, where does Demogorgon originate from? Well, there are multiple different legends about where he originates. The main one claims that he is the first of the Tanari who came from the souls of evil humans that were gathered by the Queen of Chaos. Now, when the Demogorgon was cast aside as a sort of weird, misshapen prototype, this is probably due to the fact that he had boneless arms and twin heads, and so the Queen of Chaos didn't want him, so she exiled him. The Demogorgon, in his exile, would bide his time and wait until the time was right for him to overthrow the Tanari Lords and become Prince of Demons. Another claim says he was originally a primordial, the first to enter the Abyss, where he was challenged by Dagon. Now, again, for those of you that don't know, Dagon is like a primordial demon lord. And whilst these 2 were fighting, Oboxob was kind of cheeky and seized the opportunity to become the first Prince of Demons, but was later defeated, obviously, and he still likes to hold a grudge about it. So, Thanks for sticking around if you got this far in the video. I hope you've enjoyed listening to me waffle on about the Demogorgon. There are a lot more things to know about Demogorgon. This is just a sort of surface level run through, just to give you a bit of a taster. But let me know if you like this video. I could do videos on other Stranger Things monsters like Vecna and Mind Flayers. Thanks for watching. Love you. Mwah.